Hello? Yeah, there we go. Hello, everyone. So, I'm actually on my way to the gym right now. I've been promising to make a video like this for a long time. I've said it on Twitter as well, and I've been not doing it. I've been procrastinating it. I thought I'd be able to give you guys more unfiltered, personal insights into my thoughts and opinions, and I thought maybe some people would appreciate it. Some people said that they wanted it, Sam Sulik style. Ironically, I'm actually going to the gym right now. So the first thing you should know is this camera is not at all in my direct line of sight. What I want to talk to you guys about is I wanted to give my honest advice to 18-year-olds just getting started. This is something that a lot of 18-year-olds ask people. It's like, what would you do if you were my age? Or like, if you could go back and tell your 18-year-old self something, what would it be? And they're looking for that advice that they can pretty much use as a guide and use as insight into what direction they should be going in life, because that's kind of the age where you have to start to figure out your stuff and you don't really know what you want or what you want to do, and I guess a lot of people could be lost. Here's my honest advice to 18-year-olds that are just getting started. I'm not gonna say do dropshipping. I'm not gonna say do online business, go to college. I'm not gonna say any of that. I'm gonna say you need to figure out what your goals are in life. And that sounds very cliche, but this is very important so that you don't spend years, precious time, doing something that you later on in life you're like, man, I really wish I didn't do that. I really wish I didn't waste that time. Because I run into that all the time. I meet people all the time that they're like, I wasted my precious time in my 20s doing something and I wish I hadn't. And if you knew what your goals are in life, you would have a lot less, there'd be a much lower probability of you wasting time. I'm gonna kind of walk you guys through it. So a lot of people might respond to that and say, well, I don't know what I want to do with my life. That's why I'm asking you, or that's why I ask people, right? And yeah, I get that. So here's what you should do, because the answer is different for everyone. I'm not going to give you advice that applies to me, right? I'm not going to tell you my goals in life. Maybe my goals in life are having a super yacht, or maybe it's just having a family with 5 kids. And I also think a lot of people do that, which is really bad, which is give very biased advice. I'm not going to give you advice that I'm needing myself. I'm simply going to tell you that you need to figure out what it is you want to do. And the best way to do that is to work your way backwards, in my opinion. If you don't know what your goals are in life, or if you don't know what you want your life to look like, imagine what you don't want your life to look like. It's a lot easier to picture something that you don't want versus something that you do want. I don't want to live in an apartment when I have kids. I don't want to be working a job that I don't like. I don't want to only have a couple months of savings in my account. Basically, if I were to lose my job, I would only have a few months to figure out a way to make money. I want to have a bigger safety net, whatever. So you can start designing the opposite of what you want. And then when you know exactly what you don't want, you can find the opposite of that, or you can go in the complete other direction, and you'll know what you do want. Now, one thing I would be cautious about, materialistic stuff, because at a young age, everyone wants to have materialistic stuff, because you're coming out of that phase where you just want so desperately, more than anything else, to fit in and to be well liked and respected by your peers, and to have a high status among your peers, right? I feel like it peaks in high school, teenage years, high school, college-ish, and then it kind of goes downhill for most people, maybe not everyone. You see some celebrities that clearly they are setting new highs every couple of years. You're very, very materialistic when you're young, and you're very desperate to fit in, and fit in by raising your status or having a high status. And a lot of people achieve that through materialistic things, such as designer clothes, such as fancy cars, and that type of stuff, etc. I would be very cautious against that, because you might think that you want all of those things. In reality, you probably don't. You probably don't actually care. And then, once you get them, you can make that choice for yourself. And that's what everyone should do. Everyone should explore the curiosities and live life to the fullest, and then make their own choices once they have enough, data or information about lifestyle and they make their own choice on how to live in whichever way that makes them happy. But I would be very cautious. Now, I'm not saying don't use this drive as fuel, because it's good, because you can use this like desperate need for materialistic things to make a lot of money and to work really hard and grind, which is great. But when you finally and inevitably do make money and you start making good money, be very cautious and be very slow to spend your money on materialistic things unless it helps your business. I know some people are gonna call me a hypocrite because I've had like 9 cars. I've had a McLaren, what's it called? A Urus. I've had a GTR, a lot of cars. But the thing is all of those things, due to the nature of the business that I'm in, which is having a personal brand, those things attract attention, which make me more money. So it's like justifiable in a way. But if you're not making money through YouTube or through attention of some sort, and having a car doesn't bring you any extra income and it's just something that you want to have so that you can be cool, in that scenario I'd be very cautious and just make sure you take your time to really make a decision. I'm on my way to the gym now. I'm gonna stop and wash my car real quick and vacuum my car, so we'll take a break. But moving on from that, another thing I want to say to people that are 18 that are just getting started is also be very, very cautious who you take advice from, because a lot of people are so ignorant that they will just give you the wrong advice. They'll just give you terrible, terrible advice. Even your own parents will give you terrible, terrible advice. One thing you have to understand about your parents is probably and hopefully they just want what's best for you and what's safest for you, especially mothers. They just want you to be safe. They don't want you to take risks. They just don't want to see you in a suffering. And so like if you were to drop out of college and go start a business and it fails, your mother knows that that's probably going to end with you and having a lot of suffering, right? Maybe fathers are a little bit less likely, and maybe they understand like, no, he's got to go out there and figure it out a little bit more and like kind of go through pain. I don't know, I'm just speculating. Be very careful with the advice that you get and how you like apply it to your life. Obviously you can listen to anyone, you can listen to anyone's opinion. When it comes to people that are not where you want to be in life, you have to be very cautious when taking advice from them. So for example, not only money, I would be very cautious taking advice on how to treat my spouse from someone that has been divorced 3 times, or from someone that has never been married, that's giving me advice on like, oh, this is how you should be with your wife, like that's not okay. That advice doesn't mean very much to me. Also, from somebody that is married, that isn't divorced, but it's pretty obvious that they don't have like a super healthy relationship, and I don't want that kind of relationship. Even in that situation, I'd be really reluctant to like really internalize and apply their advice to my life. I would listen to it and then it'd pretty much be like, okay, yeah, I would make a decision on whether or not that's useful to me, and then I'd pretty much like discard it. Same applies for anything. Same applies for anything. Fat people giving advice on how to lose weight or how to like build muscle. Broke people giving advice on how to make money, or people that have no idea about stocks or crypto or anything giving advice about market timing and why crypto is going to 0 or why it's going to 200K. What a lot of people do, they give advice to themselves through other people. And the truth is, everyone's life is different. We're very, very complicated. Advice, like specific advice, is very hard to give unless you know a lot about that person's circumstance. And even then, the advice giver has to be aware of like any biases that he has, and also he has to be self-aware as to what advice he's giving you and why he's giving you that advice. And he also has to be knowledgeable in whatever advice he's giving you. So because of that, there just simply isn't going to be a lot of people, like a big collection of people that can offer you really, really great advice. And that also ties into the first thing I said, which is define your goals. Because the first step is find out, who do I not want to be in 20 years for the rest of my life? Okay, now I know who I don't want to be. Now, who do I want to be? Okay, now I need to find people that have achieved the different aspects of my life that I'm looking for. So for example, one aspect is family. I need to find someone that, for example, let's say I want 5 kids. I want to find someone that has a family with more than 2 children, like a few children, that has a very healthy marriage and the kids are respectful and nice. They're great kids, and that's exactly what I want. I need to find someone like that and talk to them and ask them questions and get advice from them. Same thing for marriage. Same thing with relationships in terms of like friend and non-spouse. Obviously, same thing financially. What do you want to be? Like, do you want to be a billionaire? Or do you just want to have financial freedom where you're making like, let's say you make 20, 30K a month, you have a few $100,000 saved up after, you know, your house and your 2 cars and stuff, and you take like 4 or 5 vacations a year, whatever. And I do want to quickly say, because I know people will get triggered, you can learn something from people that have failed. You can learn what not to do. And that advice can be very good advice. For example, if somebody is divorced and they're giving you advice on, hey, this is why we got divorced. This is the main reason. That can and usually is probably very good advice. Them giving advice on the opposite of their circumstance is not good. So a divorced person or a single person or a multi-divorced person, someone that has gotten divorced multiple times, giving you advice on how to have a happy and healthy marriage will not be good advice. Them telling you why their marriage suffered and giving you that one variable, because oftentimes there's probably more than just one variable, there's probably tons of variables, but them giving you that one piece of information can be very, very useful piece of information. Same thing for someone that's broke, for example. Like, hey, this is the reason I was broke. I invested everything into crypto, everything. Okay, well, now what you can extrapolate from that is you don't ever put all of your eggs in one basket. You can learn something from that person's failure. And I've done that too. I've learned from my family's failures, my friends' failures, or I try to. You definitely don't learn as much as you do from your own failures, that's for sure. All right, I'm at the car wash now, so I'm gonna vacuum my car and get judged by everyone for having a camera on the windshield. All right, I have 2 more pieces of advice. I forgot one of them. Hopefully I can remember the other one. But my next one, anything that you do, put in maximum effort. Don't try to find the easiest and quickest way to do something just to get it done so that you don't have to worry about it anymore. Now, this is something that I'm still working on, but I wish that I had put in more effort into everything that I do. This is something I will absolutely teach my son to drill it into his head. Everything you do must be done with like your best effort. How you do anything is how you do everything. And for a long time, I personally, throughout my early 20s, I have done things just to get them done, just so that I don't have to think about them anymore. The result of that is the quality of your product and the quality of your work is bad. In the long term, it doesn't build the right foundation for great things. It doesn't set you up for success. So no matter what it is you do it so that even if you do it with everything that you have, even if you fail, you'll still feel good about it because at least you tried at least you did your best. If you do something half-assed and you fail, you're not gonna feel great. You're gonna feel bad about it and you're gonna be like, yeah, if I worked a little harder, if I tried a little harder, if I actually did what I knew I could do, I would have maybe succeeded. Oh my gosh. These people are literally about to get in an accident. I wish you guys could see this right now. They're driving like off the road side by side and turning into each other. I can't believe, you can probably see the dust clouds behind me. And now this guy just brake checked him. Bro, he cut you off, relax. Just get over it, it's not a big deal. Look, now he's cutting him off again. Oh my God, I wish you guys could see this. What a psychopath. Like, dude, let it go. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I was saying, if you do something with your best effort and you still fail, you're still gonna feel good about it because at least you did your best. I wrote one email where I flipped my mindset on exactly the advice I'm giving you, and that email made me $300,000. I was making money, and I was doing the math on how much money I should have made based on an ad campaign or a campaign for a business, for a company. My math, based on historical math, was not adding up. So I emailed the company and I'm like, hey, I think that there is a reporting issue. I think you guys should look into it. Writing the most basic email and giving the problem to them so that they can figure it out, and then hoping that they email me back and say, hey, yeah, you're right. We misreported. We owe you hundreds of thousands of dollars. I really, in that moment, thought and expected that they were going to work so hard to like find out my problem and make sure it was right, and then like reach back out to me. Like, I was hoping that they would do all the work so I wouldn't have to. And then I was thinking about it and I was like, dude, they don't care. Like, who cares more about the 300K that's owed to me? The people that owe it to me, or me, the person that it's owed to? So I wrote an email, and instead of doing like a super lazy like 2-liner, hey, there's an issue, like it's math's not adding up, I wrote a whole email. I spent like 45 minutes writing this email. And because of that email, I did most of the work. They found out I had 300K that was mistracked, and yeah, and it was a $300,000 email. So I just finished my workout, and I remember the last thing I wanted to mention, so I'm gonna quickly talk about this, and then I'm gonna end the video, which I'm sure is gonna get 15,000 views. Hey, 15,000 is a lot of people, okay? So even if it only does get 15K, still, hopefully some people get something out of it. The last thing I'm gonna say is, if you're 18 and you're just getting started, spend a lot of time self-reflecting and in your own thoughts and trying to map out and figure out yourself. And the reason I say that is because you should try to find out what your insecurities are as fast and as soon as possible. And a lot of the times you're not even aware of some of the insecurities that you have, and you subconsciously behave in different ways because of those insecurities. You're going to subconsciously do things that maybe aren't great. The faster and the better you understand yourself, the easier you will be in catching yourself from doing things that you don't want to do. And this ties back into the materialistic thing. For example, if you're insecure about fitting in because people have always laughed at you, then you might have a drive to have a really nice car or something. Or it doesn't necessarily mean that. It doesn't mean you're insecure. Or you could just really have a dream car because you love cars and driving them makes you super happy. 100%. Or it could be a combination of both. But the goal is to figure out how much of what you're doing is because of these different reasons. And if you do that and you find out early on that you're doing stuff because of insecurity, like if you're doing bad things and they're insecurely motivated, then that is also going to waste a lot of time and a lot of money. And it's just, you're gonna look back and regret it. So for example, guys that have a hard time talking to women or like getting girls to like them, right? As they get older, they're going to subconsciously maybe chase tons of girls for a very long period of time and spend tons of money on them and just rack up a super high body count, which is a bad idea. That's just not good. It's not something, you don't want to do that. You don't want to participate in hookup culture. You just don't want to do that. And you might feel pressured to do that because of a insecurity that you have. Or it could be because you really, really want to get girls. I don't know, like for whatever other reason that you could want to desperately pursue multiple women for many years on end. Maybe you just really love women and you think they're really beautiful. Whatever the variable may be, it's your job to figure out and identify why you're doing what you are doing, and if that falls in line with where you are going or where you want to go. If you want to have a family and a wife that's loyal to you and loves you, and you want to have, let's say, a traditional God is the foundation, God-fearing marriage, and you also have a desire to sleep with girls and do all, like party and do all these things, just figure out why you have that desire and where it comes from. Again, this is just an example, but this goes for anything. It's gonna be hard, especially at the age of 18, because everything is new and you wanna try things and you wanna see what you like. Really try to spend a lot of time in your own thoughts. I don't think people do that these days. There's too much information. You're constantly inputting more and more information. You're literally doing it right now, listening to my video. But just do that. Go on a drive with no music, no nothing. Go and spend a lot of time in your own thoughts. Think about why you think your thoughts, why you do things, where it comes from, and better understand yourself. And then the better you understand yourself, the better choices you'll make, and the closer and faster you'll get to your goals, and the happier you will be. So that is my honest advice to 18-year-olds that are starting out. I probably left out some other things. If you guys like these types of videos, let me know. Maybe I'll make a part 2. And please leave topics or things you want me to talk about more in the description, and I'll make videos on them as well on my way to the gym. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.